Hey everybody, Ryan Perry here, Simple Biz Support. Today's going to be an exciting show because we're going to talk about some new upgrades from ChatGPT. These are some of the key features people have been asking for. Text to chat or chat to text. We're going to be talking about images, all these kind of cool things. And no, we're not talking about Wall-E, but we're talking about something else when it comes to pictures. And of course, to bring this all together, I have Logan Monday with Logan Monday AI. How are you, sir?
Hey Ryan, great to be here. I hope you're doing great over there and staying cool.
Yeah, actually it started raining today, so definitely staying cool here. And I'm now ChatGPT is my primary tool that I use. There are some other AI tools that I love to use. However, some of these upgrades I haven't played with, so I'm super excited to talk about them and how business people can incorporate them into business, or even just, hey, if you're a business owner, how can you incorporate it into life to make things easier for you?
Absolutely. Let's get right into it. The cool things that have been coming out is that ChatGPT can now see, hear, and talk to you just from your
Okay.
phone.
Okay, so this is strictly mobile device, not through a desktop.
You know, I said that for a cool soundbite, but it can do it all.
Oh, okay. I just making sure because I'm strict. I haven't even downloaded the app. For me, I like big screens. I like keyboards. So the
Mhm.
idea of doing this all on a small screen just seems asinine to me. But that is just me. All right. So monkey see, monkey do, and
Uh-huh.
monkey hear.
Yeah.
So what are some of the well, first of all, let's talk about why is it people want these features and what are the benefits of having these features?
You know, it's great to have because it's convenient. You get to have everything in
Mhm.
one location. You're talking to ChatGPT, you're writing a blog article, but now you need something to where you're going to have it integrate with you so that if you want to have suggestions for it, you can hit a button, walk away, ask it a question, almost like, the way we talk to Alexa or Siri, but way
Mhm.
better, way better.
Okay.
So if you wanted to have a blog titles, and then if you're a walker and a talker like I am, you need to listen and think and move around. It can do that for you now instead of having to sit or like look on the tiny screen on your
Right.
phone. Instead, you're going to have something coming back to you like in a normal conversation. It's remarkable how good it is.
Okay. Now I know from a content position, because that's one of my key things that I do, creating SEO content for clients. One of the things that Google likes is they don't like walls of text.
Hmm.
And so all of the AI content writers and ChatGPT is one of the best, much
Hmm.
better than Bard and some of the other AIs that are out there. It really likes to create walls of text. So I even in my prompting, and I'm working on this right now, and I know we're going to talk about some of the newer command prompts that have been out for a couple of weeks and how you can use them. It still doesn't always listen to me because I tell it specifically to make sure you include a table as an example, which it always does.
Uh-huh.
However, but then I ask for an unordered list, which would be bullet points at, like in the third paragraph or something, and it just chooses not to listen to me. So it's still kind of in its infant stages. It's like a 2-year-old that just knows how to say no. It's like, I'll do what you want to do, but no.
As long as it doesn't throw stuff at you while it
Yes.
says no.
Yeah.
That's when it's winning. But to go back to answer what you're talking about for businesses, I think a really great benefit for what you're asking for on SEO and distributing content is you can now integrate like kind of that conduct content production together into one
Hmm.
app. So instead of
Right.
having it create headlines and then do the headers and then have an article for it, then you go somewhere else for all the images. Now you just
Right.
integrate it right into Dolly, which is what isn't Wally, and you text in and tell it what type of image you want, and it puts it all there together. So it really
Yeah.
streamlines and makes things far more efficient and effective so that you're doing what you care about, which is creating content to connect with your customers.
Right. And again, I haven't tested this, so I'm super excited about doing it because one of the frustrating things is that wall of text. If you can add a little square picture as an example or something in there that represents that blue widget or whatever it is that you're talking about, it adds everything. It makes it easier when their eyes first hit the screen. We have different things. There's a visual piece there that is kind of compelling, makes us wonder what we're talking about. But I love the fact that if it's all tied into the article itself, then contextually I'm assuming ChatGPT knows what we're writing about. Therefore, the image should already be relevant versus like what you're saying. I have to write the article, then I got to go somewhere else. I either have to find an image or I go to Microsoft. I forget the name of Microsoft, does great with creating blog post images and different things, but I have to create a new prompt for it.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have any relevancy or understanding of what I've written except for the prompt that I tell it. So let's combine those two together. I'm excited to see how that works to simplify things. Because, us humans, we're way too busy to have to actually work hard these days. So let's take full advantage of AI and ChatGPT.
Absolutely. Let's take full advantage. No irony needed. And
Yeah. I need me more wrinkle-free shirts, dang it.
Absolutely. So would you like to see the brief PowerPoint to show like kind of what people can see in context and then
let's go ahead and talk about it because I know you've got some cool things in there. And as you're bringing that up, I know one of the things that you're going to be talking about is the custom instructions. And that is huge simply because it's in there all the time. And so you don't have to preload it. Now, if you are working with different businesses or different entities, then it is important to remember to change them. Otherwise, you're going to get some really weird responses if you've got content in there about auto body repair, but you're trying to write an article for shoes. I've had some really strange mashups that don't work.
Exactly. And I mean, you can get some good shoes when you're doing body work on your car, but you want to make sure that they're steel-toed. The next thing I want to say for a mashup before I go into it is you're gonna have to excuse the mashup of the spider webs behind me. We're not having pest problems. It's just Halloween decorations for the family. Kind of caught me by surprise there. But going into it, want to mention that these ChatGPT updates are really designed for like convenient use. So like you were talking about, doesn't matter like how your small business, where you're working on, it's designed so that you can just do it quickly and easily. And it's just getting better. So as long as you have been following what you've been talking about with the prompts, these new upgrades aren't going to require you to be better at the prompting. It's just going to require you to keep doing the prompting that you're doing, and it is adjusting to us instead of us having to keep getting more technical.
Right.
So what it means is that the first thing that they did, and they did this recently, was that you can now go to your custom instructions on the free ChatGPT, and you can have it know what you want for all of your responses, all of your chats, to connect it together. I think we might have mentioned this like very briefly before, but I wanted to bring it back up again, cycle this point so that people really get that all of their chats now, they don't have to keep saying the same thing to it to remind it what it is. So no more retelling ChatGPT what to do or who you are. It knows your preferences. You just write and go. And this is really going to be important for when you're trying to connect like the imaging, the articles, the headlines, and making it together like you were talking about earlier. This will really simplify all of that.
Right. And a couple of key points, because contextually, again, if you just say, write an article about blue widgets, ChatGPT's got plenty of information on blue widgets. It'll just do it. But it doesn't bring the nuance. It doesn't bring the understanding. It doesn't bring the relevance of your business into play. And so the first box, the top one, says, what would you like ChatGPT to know about you? And you could be your business to provide better responses. I go straight to the About page. Now, what I do that's different though is I'll go into ChatGPT, and you have to do this in 4.0 because with 4.0 now it's got access to Bing. Because here's an interesting thing. ChatGPT doesn't know what this custom command or instruction is because it post dates 2021, which is where all of its knowledge is. So that's kind of interesting, is that even though it's in the software, it doesn't know it's a feature. So I've had to go into 4.0, make sure Bing's turned on, and say, hey, do you know what custom instructions are? And it goes, oh yeah, custom instructions are prompts that tell me what to do. And I go, no. And then I have to copy and paste, what would you like ChatGPT? I put that in there, and then it spits out, oh, okay, here's all the things it's good for. And then I ask it, help me come up with a prompt that will help you, in a way that you understand. And then I'll put my about information for the business in there. And that's how kind of where I start. The other thing is you got to make sure you let it know only 1,500 characters are allowed, because it'll write 1 million characters if it can. So let it know those limitations also.
Yeah, it's always great to have those boundaries in place so that it can not lose focus. I mean, it's so funny. It really will. Just the longer it gets, the less relevant it becomes.
Right.
So that's a big thing. And so for your listeners, all you have to do is when you get on ChatGPT, you go down the bottom left, you click on the little 3 dots, and it's right there.
Right. It's actually, I've got it up. I'm trying to think, because I remember when people first started talking like the beta stuff, nobody showed you where it's at. So 3 dots, and then it's called custom instructions. So if you click on custom instructions, this little square will pop up.
Yep.
And then the second part, so the first box is really about, hey, who are you? Give me some background, give me some context, give me something. And then the second box below, how would you like ChatGPT to respond? How do we use that?
Yeah, so that's actually an important one, because it's about that's kind of like the boundary of the prompt almost. So you're telling it, like, when you respond, this is the type of tone I want you to respond in. This is the general length that I want it to be in. If it's a social media post, then you would say, depending on the platform, this is how long I want it to be in that tone and for that. If it's a different platform, you would say, I want it to be a different tone and length, depending if it's, LinkedIn or the other socials. And what you're doing is that you're keeping ChatGPT kind of like categorized, right? Instead of you having to tell it every single time you go into that prompt, now you can just categorize it and go through it, and it will remember it.
Right. And one of the things that I think I'm going to switch to an Excel sheet. I've been using Notepad. So I'll just create a separate notepad for whichever company I'm working on, and I have all of my prompts saved in there. But I saw somebody the other day that was using Sheets or Excel, and so they just had a row for custom instructions, how do you respond, and then it had all the different things. So you talk like social media. You could have one row for Facebook, for Instagram, for whatever. Have everything in one folder or a sheet. That way you just go in there, click on a cell, hit copy, and then paste it in here, and you're done and simple, and you've got all the prompts in one place. And I thought that was just an efficient use of, procedure, if you will.
Yeah, that's something that I do too, and I have it by project. So I'll do replies, email replies, or social media replies, and that spending the time to work through all those sneaks up on you. And so I've got them just kind of templated and saved by project for which one it is. And I'll just pull it up, copy paste, and ChatGPT will make it real quick.
Right.
I'm pretty sure, by the way, that I read that Notepad is getting deleted.
It could be.
Like,
I don't know why they would, because
a quarter century of it being there, I think Microsoft is finally
are they
putting it out to pasture. So please save everything that you have somewhere else, so that if it is, it doesn't just disappear on you.
Right.
I don't need you to disappear on me because of being upset.
And the other thing I'll say about this is that when you're testing it out, so one, be willing to put the time in, because this is really, these are things that you're going to do for redundant tasks. I'm
Yeah.
going to do this 100 times over, 1,000 times over as time goes by. Put the time and energy up front because it's going to save you so much time on the back end. And one of the things I've been testing today is I'll go ahead and ask it, okay, hey, how can I best give you an about me information? How can I best, help me write the best prompt so that we can create that container of information I want. And then what I do is I'll actually run it, take the output, and I'll put it back in the ChatGPT and I'll say, hey, I took all of your prompts that you gave me. This is the output. And how I asked it basically, go back to the prompt and how good is the output compared to the prompt. And it was really nice because it said, hey, we did this, we did this, we didn't do this very well. We didn't do this very well. We didn't do this very well. And then I just say, okay, well, change the prompt, update it. And then
Cool.
it goes ahead and does that. I plug that back in, rinse and repeat until you get something that you're happy with.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, again, like that's just a testament to how you use it as your assistant, and you're,
Right.
you're really good at that. And it's a real big focus. And I know that, that's the way that I operate. And I just want to remind people that over time, if you think of it that way, it only amplifies how much better it will be for you.
Right. Well, and you use the word assistant, which I think is huge, in the sense that if you got a new hire, the new hire is not going to know all the nuances of the business, your idiosyncrasies, the flow of the office, all of those types of things. They need time to figure it all out, and then you got to invest that time up front, and then they should be fine after a week. Like, you expect them to know what to do simply because they've had that time to learn.
Yeah, and like for your business, like a simple use case, if you've got 3 or 4 people like in your business and you guys are all kind of using ChatGPT together, but you're getting different outputs, it's because you don't have the same like responses or how you want it to respond instructions for these custom instructions.
Wow. Yeah, that's huge. I never thought about that. And just imagine larger businesses, they've got to put all those systems in place, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Whoever it is that's responsible for making sure there's consistency. So
Yeah. So really, I just want to bring that home because, like, on your YouTube page, you've got so many great videos of examples of what to do for marketing and how to handle things and ideas. But sometimes it's like if employees aren't talking to each other about what they're doing, then what comes out is not what everybody thinks should be there.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because you got to stay on brand at the end of the day.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
that's it. Thank you. That's the wording. I was in ChatGPT language and not marketing language. Thank you. Got to stay on brand, people.
Yeah.
So some upgrades here. Now ChatGPT can see, hear, and speak. And the 3 ways that it can do it are you can have it listen to your question and it will naturally answer, and it is really good. And it'll give you step-by-step instructions. So like if you want it to give you step-by-step and you're walking and talking and trying to think out loud and you have an idea, it will give you instructions of the idea that you have for content all the way down to publishing. And it will do it naturally and be able to do it like instead of you just sitting at a desktop, sitting where you're at, you can move around and be more mobile, and it's much more convenient for those of us who are on the go.
All right.
Ryan, you've got a great studio, so you like to be there and like cranking stuff out and everything, but I'm sure that some people work a little easier like that.
Yeah. And I've got friends who are dyslexic, and so they use text to speech all the time.
Yeah.
And for me, I still struggle. Like even when, what was it, Dragon or something came out years ago where you could just Dragon Talk or Dragon Speak, whatever it was for Microsoft Word.
Yeah.
And you could just, you had to get the AT&T operator little microphone going on, and and I'm like, I've been typing for so long that my system just naturally flows. But for people that can do that, I imagine it's got to be huge. Now, hopefully you can change the voice like I can on Google Maps.
Yeah, I'm very confident that you can, and they've got 5 different voices that you can choose from. I don't know which accents they are, if they're as varied as like Siri. I can't answer that yet. But I know that for my voice to text, every now and then, like the one on Apple, it still gets my accent. I don't even have a super thick accent, and it still like it cannot phonetically understand like how I want things to go.
All
And
right.
like I'll read it and I'm like, I didn't that is not at all. But evidently they've thought of that in ChatGPT, and they've been using all of the data from people all over the world on like our variations of how we like type stuff out, and have been
Mm-hmm.
incorporating that into the responses.
Okay, interesting. Now, again, I haven't even downloaded ChatGTP on mobile, so I have no ideas. But is that a feature you got to turn on? Is it under beta,
Yeah, for
or is it
this is going to be on ChatGPT 4.
okay?
Now, the cool thing about it is that they're testing it with everyone on ChatGPT 4, and within 2 months it'll be a normal thing
Okay,
on for everybody.
okay. And you said it's also available on desktop. Is that correct?
For the beta, if you're within like a certain testing parameter, yes.
Okay,
So like we're a little ahead of it, but you're gonna start seeing it and start using
it's
it, and
coming.
I want people to know about how to do it now.
All right. Okay. Very cool. So this is being able, you can both speak into it and then it's going to talk back to you
Yeah,
if you want.
yeah.
Okay. Very cool. And then I think, oh, I like this. Speak to it. Request a bedtime story. I'm sorry. Now, they have websites that you can clone your voice. So if you're
Yep.
doing voiceovers or different things, you could go ahead and do that. I love this as a bedtime story. You could just clone your voice, upload it to ChatGTP, and go, look, use this voice and tell a bedtime story.
Yeah, put the kid
That's
to
great.
sleep. I've had a long
Yeah,
week. It's time for me to just, chill out, let them go, let them be put down,
yeah.
and do that. But what what it also does is that it I see a practical use for businesses once they kind of like get the kinks worked out of this. I see people being able to push record and it record a meeting and then have
All
meeting
right.
notes. Like that's
Yeah.
how something that I see it being able to be used very soon. And so you're not going to need to have some of the very like complicated um, meeting software that's out there. You're just going to input it, do a quick plug-in with ChatGPT, and then
All
I'm
right.
confident by this time next
That's
year it'll be doing that.
Wow, that's huge because then you can take ChatGTP and actually analyze the conversations and find strength, find weakness, find, like who knows the gamut of what you can do once that becomes available. That would be huge. And like you said, you're not paying a monthly fee for whatever, software is out there that's plugged in the phone systems to record
No,
that.
no massive emails going through back and forth, no people missing it and everything. Like all
Hmm.
these numbers that like McKinsey or Gallup Gardner throws out about productivity. This is how it's going to improve. It's going to be a $3 trillion addition to the global economy, blah, 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 by 2035. You
All
know,
right.
we say that sarcastically and they just kind of throw them out, but this is one of the ways that it will do it.
Yeah.
This is a practical way that it will. And for me personally, it's like meetings aren't a problem for me. What's a problem for me is when I finish and I have my notes, all I want to really be able to do is then just take the notes and give them to the other people on the team and say, okay, do we
All
all agree
right.
that these are the notes? And
Well,
instead
and
now
just
you
being
can,
able to say, yeah, just being able to summarize, because I believe Zoom transcribes meetings now, if I'm not
Mhm.
mistaken. So being able to take that transcription from Zoom as an example, see now this you don't even need all this type of stuff, but never thought about that.
Right.
You transcribe the meeting, and now you can just go, all right, yeah, give me a summary of the meeting notes that happened, and send it. And we were testing the emails. By the way, we did a show a couple of weeks ago that did not go live because it went horribly sideways. But if you could integrate that into email systems, and that's what we were testing out a couple of weeks ago, and it didn't. It'll be here, but it's not there quite yet. That will be cool, and to disseminate it between what level, right? There might be a C-level notes, and then there's level for the marketing department, and it could automatically figure that stuff out and just shoot those notes out, and then an overall company email to let everybody know about this big meeting we had. Boom, I mean, those are things you could do right now.
Think about this. Think about like being able to take the notes from the meeting, throw it in ChatGPT, tell ChatGPT, okay, write the summary, 4 key takeaways of the meeting, 4 action steps of the meeting that are agreed upon, and then tell me what Karen didn't like.
Yeah.
And like it can, instead of you having to go all through and listen and it just 2 seconds later it does it for you.
And if it's a client meeting and within like 15 minutes they get an email summarizing everything, you're going to look like a rock star.
Right? And then like you integrate that into your workflows of your emails that you put out and you schedule out, and you could say, okay, for this email, tell them thanks so much. You know, you're showing that you're a rock star. And then the next email to follow up, you can say, hey, don't forget we mentioned this and this. You know, here's something that we talked about that you might have forgotten. Let's come back to that. Here, are you available on Tuesday at 10? Like it's just so crazy how much you can do with it.
Interesting. By the way, okay, I think we went off the rails. I know. We went off the rails. We're allowed to do it.
Yeah. Well, the last time we went off the rails, that was like the best hour of you and I just sitting there thinking, this thing is nowhere near good enough.
Yeah.
So there is more, and this is the cool thing, is that DALL-E 3, but it's not WALL-E 3.
Yeah.
Okay. Is you will now be able to see. So you see the text at the bottom. An illustration of avocado sitting in a therapist's chair saying, I feel so empty inside, the pit-sized hole in the center of the therapist, the spoon scribbles notes. It made that in like minutes.
Right.
And this wasn't like an iteration where it was practicing, like one time, done.
Right.
And you didn't have to do like with Midjourney, you have to do these specific prompts. You have to like command things a certain way. Nope. You just write it out and done.
Very cool. And I'm assuming you could put in like aspect ratios if you want those type of things. So if you need a square image versus a landscape image. Okay, very cool. And do you need a DALL-E account to do that, or is it all just built in?
It's built in, and you go through to your ChatGPT 4 account.
Okay.
I'm confident that they're going to have it available for everyone soon, but they're still using the ChatGPT 4 to like get it right before they bring it out.
Yeah, I don't have that option yet. At least not on desktop. I was just looking at my desktop.
Okay, so here's the big one that I saved for last.
All right.
I didn't even tell you this because I wanted to surprise you. ChatGPT 4 is now connected to the internet.
What? Like now?
Now.
Like everybody now?
Like ChatGPT 4 is now connected to the internet.
You're talking about Bing
and
using the Bing prompt.
And it
or
goes
not prompt, but it's
Yes.
Correct.
Yes. Eventually.
I'm sure there's a reason why, but it would be nice if it just was regardless and could figure out when to do research, or if you just said, hey, research done, blah, 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 because, and I may be jumping ahead a little bit. You don't have access to plugins. You don't have access to the other tools because you only get, if there's 5 features available, you can only choose one. And so I think connecting to the internet should just be done. Bard is doing it already, but that's all right. I get off my pillar here.
You're a smart guy, and you're asking a question a lot of people are wondering about, and it's OpenAI's answer to that is we've gotten so many lawsuits.
Oh, really?
We're trying to figure out how to do that. Okay. But also keeping it sourced, not having people be uncredited for all the work that they did, etc.
Right.
So that's why they're kind of doing it through Bing, but then it's coming in.
And it does a good job. I mean, for what I've asked it to do, I will say you have to be careful on what it is that you're searching, because if I'm giving it a concept of what I want to search, it'll just search that concept, where I'm thinking, oh, if I give you a concept, you'll know specifically what to search for. not the way AI works. You need to be kind of specific with it. And so that's one of the things I'm having to learn is I'll do search and then in quotes, I'll put whatever it is just for extra clarity. And do quotes really matter or can it discern?
It should be able to discern by now.
Okay. Yeah.
And like to your point about the searching, that's the thing that Google's perfected in the past 20 years. But like Bing, is notoriously not the greatest at it. And OpenAI, they're like still figuring out like how do we take the 800-pound gorilla that is Google search and do that for Bing while using OpenAI and ChatGPT.
But I think it does a good job, and it does a really good job of putting references in there. So it will do that. And so one of the things I just strip the references out because I'm like, I'll pick and choose who I want to refer to. Now, if it's data or it's a report on something, I'm mentioning somebody's name, yeah, you definitely want to do that. But if it's just pulling an idea about something, how to change a tire, and it went to Car and Driver and found a blog post about how to change a tire, as far as I'm concerned, I don't need to give Car and Driver credit for the information on how to change a tire.
Gotcha. And my final point is to finish with that is that because it'll be connected, it'll really help small businesses with their SEO because they'll be able to test it and like see what's coming up and like I don't know. I'm sure someone very much smarter than me at Google has thought of that with their Google Analytics and being bypassed. But for right now, that would be an option for small businesses.
What do you mean by bypassing Google Analytics?
Well, like if you are prioritizing certain search criteria and you're using ChatGPT and it's connected in through Bing, then it's probably going to hit a different keyword combination than it would on Google search because you're going to the internet.
Yes.
But the way you
get
there
is
going to be different.
But you're referencing Bing instead of Google. So contextually, the information may not be what Google is looking for or
or like the way that Google lists pages might be different. The way Bing lists them and the criteria for Bing is different. And then if you're wanting videos, like with your YouTube channel, it's going to be a different criteria than what Google search because it integrates into YouTube. So it's a full-time job.
Interesting stuff. Yeah, it's an interesting thought because ultimately, I think this is really important for people, regardless who are creating content, is don't write to Google, don't write to Bing, write to the audience. So because it's if you create content, one that is because there's a lot of surfer SEO, and I forget, or it's SEO Surfer, I forget which way it is. There's another program out there that I thought about because it's kind of cool because you can put in a keyword and it will tell you, and it'll look at the top 10 results. So the first page of Google, it'll let you know what the average length of the article is, how many times the keyword's been in there, all this analytical stuff. And so it's thinking that, hey, if this is what is showing up on the first page, then this is the criteria for how you show up on the page. You should have so many words bolded. The keyword should be shown X number of times. The article needs to be this long. Well, if I go and I use that tool and then I'm basically regurgitating what's already on the top 10, Google's going to be smart enough, and they've already made an update. They made an update in September that basically they put it very generic that said, create good content. Anybody who has poorly written content is going to, and it's not just the page, it's the entire website will be kind of, knocked down a couple of notches. So write original content that is relevant for the audience, because personally, what I think is more important than just trying to fit a mold of what you think Google wants is Google's really looking at how long is somebody staying on the website, and then how many pages are they viewing? That's really that's core, right? Because at the end of the day, what people forget about in digital, and especially when social media blew up years ago, at the end, at the end of this whole thing is another person. That's you. And if I don't speak to you, the person that's reading this content or watching this video, then I'm totally missing the point, and I'm just creating e-waste essentially instead of valuable content.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so create good content. And so I think as more people use AI, obviously it's going to create a lot of junk. We already know that. It already is creating a lot of junk. And Google's just going to go, look, there's too much junk. In fact, I just read an article last night, that they were having a hard time indexing new pages. And so I don't know if they were just getting behind database wise, like they got overwhelmed because there's so much new content being created, or was it just like a server error and they weren't able to? So,
Whoa.
if you were a business that published a really good blog article yesterday, it may not have been indexed where normally your content would be indexed right away. So it's going to be interesting, but at the end of the day, do good. I mean, the AI is here to help and assist. You're a huge proponent of that. In fact, it says AI is a tool for your benefit. So use it to your benefit to be better. And when you're better than your competitors, just the results are going to be so much better all the way around. Better.
This is what my son does. He's young, and so he does like little golf claps when he's proud of himself.
Oh, okay, nice.
And I'm like, I forgot. Like, your audience is probably like, man, what a dad dork. But I love that, because I'm like sitting here, I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, yeah, that's great, man. I'm all about it. Like, great content, make it count, make it consistent, make it worthwhile. I really can't speak any more than that. You said it beautifully. And again, that's just why I love being on this podcast, being able to share this. And I hope that my perspective of having very practical applications of this instead of big theoretical stuff is a great benefit for your audience.
Yeah, and for people that may not know, Logan Monday is an AI consultant, essentially, for business owners, helping them figure out how to get from point A to Z as quickly as possible to integrate AI into their business for efficiencies, just all around. You can speak to that much better than I can. So if you're interested in learning more about Logan and what he's doing to help business owners out become more efficient, check out loganmondayai.com. And he's got all kinds of good stuff there.
Yeah, I enjoy it. Thanks so much. I know you've got a busy schedule, so thanks again, Ryan. I hope I was a benefit for you and your audience. And until next time.
All right, everybody. I hope you enjoyed the content. If you got questions, comments, thoughts, or ideas, would love to hear about them. Feel free to leave a comment below. If you have a question for myself or for Logan, or you'd like for us to talk about something specifically regarding AI, let us know in the comments below. Take care.